Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Personality Pick. And what way to kick off the new year than with the man himself, Brady. Brady, how you doing?
What's up, man? Looking forward to be on.
No, I'm thankful for having you on. And you and Wheezy have been the two people that I looked up to the most throughout the space. So to have you both on to the show, it's a blessing.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's something different. Talk fights all week. It's good to talk something else other than fights, right?
100%, 100%. So let's dive right into it. What got you into MMA and have you trained before?
Well, I started watching in like middle school, I'd say, but just like on and off, like casually, I'd say for like the big cards and stuff. I started really getting into it my senior year. I had some buddies that I would always watch, and I'd go over there. So I started really getting into it probably around like 2016, 2017, and from then on, I don't think I've missed an event. So just really started to kind of fall in love with it. Like I used to do DraftKings for MMA. That's kind of where
Uh-huh.
I started. I didn't used to bet until probably like 4 years ago. But just kind of fell in love. Like it was the most fun thing ever, and it's got addicted, I guess. But in terms of training, I didn't do any training up until like the last 2 years because I played football in high school. I played basketball in high school.
No
Then I
way.
went to college and played basketball for 3 years. And then my senior year is when I did start doing some training, some boxing, some kickboxing, and it seems like the last 2 years I've been doing some type of training every day for like the last 2 years. So just yeah, really just falling in love with the sport overall.
Yeah, I've seen like touching on the subject of training every day.
Mhm.
I've seen the weight loss journey, and I'm that is something to look back at and to be proud of. Uh, what motivated you to start that in the first place, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, for sure. It's something cool to talk about. Man, I don't know. Like, I've always been like in solid shape. Like I've played sports my whole life, right? But it was my like junior year during basketball. I hurt my knee, and then that was like around like when all the COVID stuff started happening, right? So they closed up all the gyms. I was in PA. They closed up all the gyms. They closed up the gym at my college. They closed up Planet Fitness, and I was somebody that was in the gym every single day. And then, since the gym got closed, I wasn't able to do any training. And to be honest, I started to get a little bit depressed because you're in the apartment, just doing nothing all day. You're just sitting there playing video games, right? Not able to get out, not able to do anything. So I used to work out every day, and then as since the gym's closed and I hurt my knee, I stopped working out. I started eating whatever I wanted, which was nice. It was nice being able to finally eat whatever I wanted, but and then it just kept adding on, adding on. Um, got a girlfriend, right? And then it kept adding on, eating like crap, working out here and there, but inconsistently. And then before you know it, I'm 310 pounds.
Oh,
So
yeah.
and then and then like, people call you fat and stuff, and you just kind of get sick of it, right? And then I got sick of it, and then 2022 in January, I'm like, yep, that's it. Um, I'm gonna do as much as I can, get down as much as I can. My goal was 100 pounds, right? I had
Mhm.
a wedding that was going to take place May 5th. So my goal was set on 100 pounds, and I didn't get there. I got to like down 90, which is still
That's
awesome.
yeah.
And it was just consistency, right? Like every day I'd be working out, like long workouts. I got a Apple Watch to track them. I would be eating a certain amount of calories. I'd be tracking it. I'd be writing stuff down, and it seemed to work. So I was able to get down 90 pounds. My wedding happened, and then I ended up finishing out the 100 pounds in like I want to say a little after June, and then I finally hit the goal down 100 pounds. Went from like 310 to 210 in the matter of what 7 months.
Oh my goodness.
It was
Yeah,
wild.
that's that is wild because the amount of effort that takes is alone just mentally taxing to a point that sometimes people give up halfway through just because they're tired of how much effort they're putting in,
Hmm.
and just sticking to it is yeah, that's it's tough. I commend you for that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the hardest part for me was just the diet part. Like I could work out, whatever, but it's the diet, like the consistency with the diet. The tracking of your calories.
Mhm.
That was probably the hardest part for me.
Were you on keto, paleo, or just a low cal diet?
Just tracking the calories. I got it's called MyFitnessPal. I
Uh-huh.
would track my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner. I'd set a goal to what I want to eat, like how many calories, and then I would just do my workouts each day as well.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Awesome. Well, what led you to start your MMA Twitter page? Was it the DFS, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so that started it was my I think my senior year of college. So my buddy, he's on YouTube as well. His name's Chris Pinelli. He does NASCAR, NFL, MLB, stuff like that. So he got into it first, and that was around probably 2017, 2018, around there. Um, and I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is something I'd be interested in. So he kind of brought me on. He knew that I liked MMA, and nobody was really doing a ton of MMA DFS content. So he brought me on to his channel, and I would actually do videos for him, and I did it for probably around a year. And then I ended up making my own channel. And funny story, when I first created my first YouTube channel, the name was Thundernut DFS. Thundernut. Like, why would I think that was a good name? But that was what it was. And then ended up doing my own MMA videos. And by the way, I went back and watched some older videos like yesterday, and I've came a long way. I'll say that. Um, it's pretty bad, but yeah, started out doing MMA DFS videos, just like talking DraftKings, and then a couple months later started doing the main card predictions, and then a couple months later after that started doing the full cards, and since then just really kind of blew up.
So then Thundernut is still live on YouTube for the people that wanna watch this.
No, no, they
Uh,
allowed me to change the name from Thundernut to DFS by the numbers, luckily.
okay, okay. I was literally ready to search this up after we were done to watch
Oh, man. I'm glad I changed it, man. Thundernut, I don't know what I was thinking. It was,
it. That's awesome. Do you remember the first fight you've ever watched?
man, I think it might have been like a John Jones fight. I don't know which one, but I think it was a John, because ever since then, John Jones has been my favorite fighter. So I want to say it was a John Jones fight. Just don't really remember which one. One of his earlier ones.
I
But
feel like a lot of people, at least most of the people that I've brought on, their first fight was around that time where it was John Jones Gustafson, and it was mine too. So
I
I
think,
find that funny how it's we all share that
yeah,
in common.
it was definitely, I think, a John Jones. I don't know if it was Gustafson. I think it was earlier than that, but yeah. Ever since then, John Jones is my favorite fighter, which I'm excited that he's hopefully returning in
Mhm.
March.
What do you think of that matchup?
Well, I'll be going to the fight. I just got the tickets tonight,
Oh,
and they were not cheap, man. But I'm not missing this card. It's a really good card. But in terms of the matchup, it's interesting because John Jones has been off for 3 years, right? So I'm
yep.
curious to see how he comes and looks at heavyweight. And prior to having that layoff, he wasn't looking too impressive. He had that close fight with Santos, which a lot of people thought that
Uh-huh.
Santos could have won. The close fight with Reyes, which a lot of people thought that Reyes won that fight. So he's taken the layoff. And yeah, I think he has a path to victory, and that's to wrestle. But there's just a lot of question marks about it. I'll be rooting for him, but I just can't see myself getting invested from a money perspective.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same way. It's tough. I was looking at those comparisons. Have you seen the picture floating around where it's Anthony Smith right next to Cyril Gane?
Oh yeah,
And then
yeah,
the picture of Anthony Smith right next to John Jones, like that alone is like, wow, it's
yeah.
scary.
It's gonna be a good fight, though. I'm looking forward to it.
It should, it should. So you already answered the question of favorite fighter. What's the favorite fight that you've ever watched? Or if you have multiple
Oh
that works too.
man, there's so many good fights. I'll have to go recent because I my memory sucks. So recently, I don't know. I'll get some recency bias in here. It's the Teixeira Yuri fight. That fight was probably one of the best fights I've ever seen. Back and forth, both guys had their moments, and then the unexpected outcome of Yuri getting a fifth round submission was just the cherry on the top. And the cherry
Uh-huh.
on the top was actually me cashing a fight doesn't get the decision bet. I you know I thought it was not going to cash. There was like what less than a minute left, and then ended up
Mhm.
cashing that. So that just cherry on the top right there.
Yeah, you must have been sweating until that very
I
moment where
was.
he
I
tapped,
was,
and you're
yeah.
like jumping around the living room. I can only imagine. Because my brother had the same bet. I'm like, "Ah, why did you make that?" And I'm dogging on him the whole time. I'm like, I get it. I get it,
Oh,
please.
It was rough, man. There were so many opportunities for it to finish, and then it finally finished. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got lucky." Wow.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that was good. That was a really good fight. It was my
Oh yeah.
favorite fight of recent memory up
Mhm.
until, I wanna say Joanna Jędrzejczyk against Weili won, yeah.
That fight was good. That fight was very good. Best female fight I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah, all time, easily, hands down.
Mhm.
Okay, so what led you to the degeneracy? What led you to start betting on MMA or betting in general? Uh, I know DFS has some money involved into it. I'm
Mhm.
not too well versed in the DFS side of things, but just let us know how you got into the space with the betting.
Yeah, so like I said, I started out doing the MMA DFS, and then I want to say it was either 2018 or 2019 is when I started getting into the betting because the betting side of things is a lot more popular than the DFS side of things, right?
Mhm.
A lot more people are betting than playing DraftKings. So figured I'd jump into there, and once I did jump into the betting, I used to love DFS, but I actually started to enjoy betting more than the DFS, and ever since then I'd be betting a lot more than I'm playing on DraftKings, and that's been for like the last 3-4 years now.
Okay, and then do you still do DraftKings on the side while you bet?
Yeah, like I'll do probably 75% of my money's going towards the betting side of things, like 25% towards the DFS nowadays.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I've always wanted to get into the DFS side of things, but I don't think it's legal in California yet, so I'm still waiting.
Yeah, hopefully they get it soon then.
Hopefully. Well, let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to bring up the screen with all of the fights in order for this weekend. We'll do a rapid fire pick 'em, and then we'll wrap up the episode.
Let's do it.
And I know you guys on Stat Diggers like to do it from bottom to top. Let's switch it up. We'll go from top to bottom. So starting with the main event of the evening, we have Glover Teixeira against Jamal Hill.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm taking Teixeira as far as a pick. Not sure if I'm going to bet it yet. I mean, he's at plus 120. Like, if he gets to like plus 130, plus 140, I'm going to be very tempted to do so. I get that he's 43, but man, I think Hill's always had a hole in his game in terms of the takedown defense, and guys have been able to exploit that. Like Santos took him down 6 times, Stosic
Mhm.
six times, and he's able to pop back up. I'll give him that, but is he going to pop back up against Glover? That's kind of my question. So, yeah, tempted on Teixeira. What I was really looking forward to though was potentially playing violence, but they're all over. It's like the fight doesn't goes like minus 550. The under 2.5 is like minus 220. Like I could see it getting extended. So right now I don't really have anything, but I'm gonna take the dog and Teixeira at 43 years old to pull off the upset. But I might just sit back and watch this one.
Makes sense. Yeah, the distance props are really similar to the Yuri fight.
Yeah.
Cool. So co-main event, we got Figueiredo against Brendan Moreno.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like I've picked Figgy all 3 times, and I'm 1-1-1. But this time I'm going to switch it up. I'm going Moreno, just due to Figgy not being around for almost a year. I think it's been 10 months since he's been out. He's now
Mhm.
35. That weight cut is not getting any easier at this age. I want to see him on the scales, and we're going to find out pretty soon. I heard the weigh-ins are like 7 a.m., so I'm going to
Yeah.
set my alarm and wake up and watch him. Um, so if Figgy does look good, then I don't know, but I'm going to take Moreno and I'll take him to win by decision. But another fight where it's super close. These guys are very well matched, and it can probably go either way.
Yeah, we share that in common where we've picked Figgy all three fights, and now I'm slightly leaning towards the Moreno side just because of the way he looks on social media. But he looks like embedded. He
Hmm.
doesn't look like he's without energy or lacking any sort of physical mobility or whatnot. But yeah, I'm waiting for the scales too. But I probably won't be betting on that fight.
Yeah, same.
Next fight we have Gilbert Burns against Neil Magny.
Yeah, I like Gilbert Burns here a lot. Not only do I think it's a step down from Usman and Shemaya, but I think stylistically a very little matchup against Neil Magny. Magny's takedown defense a little bit better than 50%. He's been submitted like 5 times. So yeah, I like Burns here. I like Burns inside the distance. I played him inside the distance. I think he takes down Magny, and once Burns gets somebody on the mat, they're in danger. And I think he gives Magny his 6th submission loss.
I like it. I like it. I have the same bet. Next up, we have Jessica Andrade against Lauren Murphy.
Yeah, this one's frustrating. I'm a big Jessica Andrade fan. And it's tough because I'm kind of torn between how does she. I think she wins. I think she absolutely wins this fight. I'm just
Mhm.
torn towards how does she win it? Does she finish the very tough, the very durable Lauren Murphy? And I don't think Lauren Murphy's that great, but what she's great at is being tough, right? So I don't know if she's gonna finish or if she's gonna win a decision. I'm kind of flip flopping back on that. So I'm probably gonna pass on the fight. You can't really lay minus 600 on
Yeah,
Andrade. I pick her to win pretty confidently, but just don't know if there's anything really sticking out from a betting perspective.
I like it. I like the analysis there. Next up, we have a very anticipated matchup: Paul Craig against Johnny Walker.
Yeah, I have my biggest bet of the night on this fight. I like the under a lot, under 1.5 rounds. I see it playing out one of two ways. Either Paul Craig goes out there and gets knocked out. It could be a flying knee. It could be anything. I mean, Johnny Walker's going to have a big striking advantage. Or Paul Craig pulls guard. Johnny Walker falls him down to the mat. And Paul Craig, like Paul Craig does, gets a submission off his back. I think both those outcomes are very live. And I just like violence here. I think Walker does knock him out, but give me the violence to kind of cover both sides there.
Do you worry that if Paul Craig pulls guard and Johnny Walker just refuses to even move and it just stalls out the round, do you have that fear in the back of your head of that happening? Because it's very possible.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it happened against Volkan Oezdemir, and I had a big bet. I had a max bet on the fight doesn't get the decision, and it was the hardest fight ever. But I've been max betting Craig violence his entire career, and it's worked out more times than not. It's only not worked out once against Oezdemir. So I don't think so. I think Walker and Oezdemir are really different in terms of their style. Oezdemir kind of a slow plodding guy, especially at this age. He looked awful against Craig. Johnny Walker, younger, explosive. I think Walker should knock him out, but I mean, if if he goes out there and pulls an Oezdemir out, I will be losing money again for sure.
Yeah, that's the worry. I'm like close to pulling the trigger, but we'll see. We'll see. Next up, we have Mauricio Shogun Hua against Ihor Poteria.
Yeah, I want to see Shogun on the scales. Man, he's 41, right? And this guy, a legend of the game, but man, he's looked rough, and he's looked rough
Mhm.
for a couple years now. I'm actually shocked that he's still fighting at 41. Um, I don't think Bateria is good. I think he's his record very padded. I think he has a massive hole in his game with the takedown defense, with the get up game, with the cardio. I think somebody's going to exploit Bateria very, very soon. But man, is 41-year-old Shogun going to do it? I don't know. What Bateria does do is he hits very hard, and I think he's going to hit Shogun really hard. So one bet I'm looking at is that Pateria first round knockout prop at like plus 275. I think if Pateria does win the fight, it's going to be early on in the first round. But if it does get past the first, man, it's probably going to be an ugly fight.
I tend to agree with that too. Next up, we have RoboCop against Bruno Ferreira.
Yeah, I like RoboCop here. I think he knocks out Ferreira, and this is another spot where I do like the violence. I like the under here, and Ferreira's never lost. He's never been knocked out, so he may be durable. He may not be durable, but that really doesn't matter here for me because RoboCop's knocked out some very durable guys like Park and like Julian Marquez. I think Ferreira is going to be live very early on. The guy hits hard, and RoboCop has been finished twice by knockout, but as the fight goes on, it should be RoboCop, and I think he probably finishes him late first there. Should be a very fun fight, though. I think they're going to stand and bang.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried about the durability of RoboCop just because he's been rocked before.
Hmm.
Yeah, the striking affair is just a little bit green. It doesn't really set up the shots all that well, from what I've seen on tape at least.
Yeah,
So
his
yeah,
ground sounds good, but I don't think he's taken down RoboCop.
yeah, no, I don't think he wants to do that.
Mm.
Next up, we have Thiago Moises against. I'm just gonna say Costa.
Mel Cosby. Yeah, how do you pronounce that first name? I don't even know. I'm just calling him Mel.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me Moises here. Moises by sub. Costa, he can be taken down. He can be taken down super easy. I think his striking's great, but
hmm
if Moises takes you down, you're going to be in serious trouble, especially on short notice. So just kind of like the Burns, I like Moises here. I like Moises inside the distance. Moises by sub. I haven't played it yet, but I probably will be hopping on that tomorrow morning.
I like it. I like it. Next up, this is a, a controversial one along with his brother's fight. We have Gabriel Bonfim against Munir Lazez.
Yeah, Liz, that's a very popular pick, man, and I get it, but For me personally, I am going to pick Bonfim. I'm not laying this chalky price tag
Mhm.
on him, but I was really impressed with the guy. I think from a striking perspective, Lazez has a lot more tools on the feet. I think that's why a lot of people are leaning towards the Lazez side. But another thing people really aren't talking about is the ground game of Bonfim. Like this guy's an absolute savage on the mat. If he can take down Lazez, it's going to be trouble. And then even on the feet, Lazez is going to be the minute winner more than likely, but Bonfim is going to have the power. So it's a fight where I think Bonfim has more paths, especially with the grappling and that power and the finishing upside. But yeah, if this fight does go to decision, if Lazez is able to stop these takedowns, he's going to be a very live dog. But yeah, I don't have any money on this. This is actually the fight I'm least looking forward to putting any money on, but it should be a fun fight to watch.
Yeah, I'm one of the Lazez backers. I just think that he's proven to have a chin.
Hmm.
I mean, the Alves fight was, uh, it was weird. Like,
It
the
was
the
weird.
body shots, that I don't know what happened there, but other than that, like, he ate shots clean from Abdulrazak, and I think he has the more diverse striking here.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
what I'm most interested in seeing is if it does extend, how does Bonfim's cardio hold up? Because he's been known to be a finisher. He has a finish in the 3rd round, but tend to see the gas tank starting to slow down there with both fighters in his fights. So I'm very interested to see how it does when it extends, or if it does extend.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
Next
be
up,
rooting. What?
oh, go for it.
I'll just say I'll be rooting for Lazez because I have him in DraftKings. That's for
Let's
sure.
go. Let's go. Next up, I think I already know your answer. It's Jelton Almeida against Shamil Abdurakhimov. So the question is it Jelton KO or is it Jelton sub?
That's always the big question with this guy, right? Like, is he gonna TKO him, ground and pound, or is he gonna get the submission, right? So,
Yeah.
I guess I pick ground and pound, but it could be a sub easily. Yeah, I wanted to take a shot on the KO at plus 300, but that got kind of smashed. I think it's only plus 200 now. It's just
Uh-huh.
the fight I'm staying away from. Jonathan should win. He should win in the first round. And I'm not even convinced Shamil shows up tomorrow. So we'll see what happens there.
If there is a bet Jelton under 2.5 minutes, would you take it?
Oh, I think there is a bet out there, like half a round. I don't know because 'cause they'll probably have to take him down. I'd probably take the over. I'll take the
Okay.
over. I
Okay,
I
that
I would
makes
I would
sense.
maybe take the under in the McKinney fight or the Walker fight, though.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Which leads us into the next fight, Terrence McKinney against Ismail Bonfim.
Yep, McKinney under a half a round. I mean, I think McKinney's so dangerous. I think he has great wrestling. I think he has a great submission game. There's one big problem with McKinney, and that's the cardio, the pacing. If he does not finish Bonfim in the first couple minutes, there's going to be some huge concerns for me. But I think McKinney gets him out of there early. But once again, I do like the under. It's got completely hammered over the past couple weeks or a week or so, but rightfully so. It's a McKinney fight, and I miss the
Mhm.
old days, man, where I was able to get a McKenny Ziam under 2.5 at like even money, 2.5 with
I
McKenny.
remember that.
But they're catching on to it. McKenny's a killer be killed fighter, and I'll say he does go out there and finish Bonfim, but I don't have a ton of confidence in it, to be honest.
Yeah, because you never know if he's not able to get Bonfim out of there within those first 4 minutes, it's just trouble.
It
And
could be bad, yeah.
it's we know that Bonfim can last, like he's durable when it goes later on into the rounds and his gas tank holds up, but McKinney just completely falls apart. So yeah, I'm staying away from it, but I want to take the under. Um, I think I'm a little too late though, sadly.
Yeah, it's got smashed.
hmm Next up, we have Warley Alves against Nicholas Dalby.
I think this is like the most bet on fight of the week. It seems like a
Mhm.
lot of people are on Alves, a lot of people are on Dolby. The thing with Alves is, man, I can't trust this guy. Like this guy is so inconsistent. I think it's a super winnable matchup for him. I think he's the better fighter, skill wise. I think he has a lot of power on the feet, a great submission game, a path to victory of taking this guy down. It's just there's fights where his cardio looks good across the entire fight up until he gets a finish, and then there's fights where he just looks completely gassed 4 minutes in. So I personally can't trust Alves. I stopped betting on his fights because I can't trust the guy. But I think he should win this fight, but I can't put money on it for me. But yeah, I'll pick
Mhm.
Alves to get the win. And I'll say, I don't know, it could be a early finish, a potential decision, just a weird fight for me.
Yeah, both guys tend to be very inconsistent, as you mentioned. So it's a fight I'm definitely staying away from. But I see the angle for Alves for sure,
Yeah.
as long as he can keep up the pace.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the very handsome. I'm going to steal that one from you guys' book. Josiane Nunez against Zara Fairn.
You mean my favorite fight on the card here? Love this fight, man. Under is a great look. I think like under 2.5. I even consider like under one. I think Nunez should start Farron. I don't think Farron's UFC caliber. I think since Jared Vandera left the UFC, that Farron's probably the worst fighter on the roster at this point. It's pretty close between her and Mandy Bum, who we'll see in a couple weeks. But Nunez, she's going to walk forward. She's going to throw heavy. Farron, her hands are low. Her head does not move. She's been finished in the first round of both her UFC fights. She's now 34-35. She took a massive layoff. This should be Nunez in less than 5 minutes.
Mhm.
So I like Nunez. I like Nunez inside the distance. I like the under 2.5. If she does not finish Zara Farron, she should be absolutely ashamed of herself.
But what about the height difference? Because it's huge.
I know. I mean, if Farron could be 8 feet tall, and I would still pick Nunez. So, yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Next up, we have Luan Lacerda against Cody Stamen.
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Statement here. As long as he comes in here with the right game plan, right? Like Lacerda, his grappling really impressed me, but he's making a lot of mistakes in there. He's pulling guard and he's rolling for legs, ankles, and it
Mhm,
works outside the UFC, but a lot of times it does not work inside the UFC. That submission over position type stuff, and Cody has been submitted twice, but it was against Syed and it was against Aljamain Sterling. So I
mhm.
think he'll be all right. A bet that I do like though is the fight doesn't go to decision, just because if Lacerda does pull off the upset, it's going to be by sub, and I think that Cody's going to have a pretty big striking advantage here. He's taken a pretty big step down. I could see him potentially knocking out Lacerda as the fight goes on, and that's pretty big plus money. So I took that, but I do like Stamen to get it done here.
I like that angle too. Obviously, Stamen, huge favorite, so I'm not going to shy away from saying Stamen is my pick.
Hmm.
But yeah, the under is something that I've been looking at very closely because of the. I mean, it's a little bit of an unknown about Lacerda's chin, but yeah, if he wins, it's going to be by sub. That's his main path to victory. And then Stamen with the boxing edge here for sure.
Yep.
And then we have the curtain jerker, Daniel Marcos against Simon Oliveira.
Yeah, I like Marcos here. It's not something I'm completely confident in, but I think he's going to be the minute winner here. I think he's the better striker. It really impressed me on the Contender Series, and I also think that if he wants to go for takedowns here, he can get them. Oliveira does not have any takedown defense to show for.
Mhm.
He's just going to have to really mind his p's and q's on the mat. So outside of a submission from Oliveira, I think it's a winnable matchup for Marcos. A bet that did stick out on DraftKings was the decision only for Marcos, and I couldn't believe the price. It's plus 165. That takes out the whole Oliveira submission thing. And I think if Marcos does win this, it's either him outpointing Oliveira on the feet across 15 minutes, or like I said, mixing in those takedowns and winning decisions. So I like Marcos to get it done. A lot of people on Marcos this week I saw.
Yeah, I really like his boxing. I'm close to pulling the trigger on Marcos, but I promised myself not to bet on these low level fights as often
Hmm.
as I think I want to. That's the thing. So I'm still in the process of thinking about it. But
Yeah, it's
there is
hard to know,
statistics.
and there's a lot of information missing from both guys.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I need the statistics.
Yep.
But Brady, it's been a pleasure having you on. Let the people know where they could find you, what you have going on, shows, and what you're looking forward to doing in the future.
Yep. Just Twitter, DFS underscore numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'm on that TikTok now,
Oh
DFS
yeah.
underscore numbers, shaking my ass on there for everybody to see. But yeah, outside of that, just gonna keep doing what I'm doing, man. Have a new show this year. Doing like the TikTok stuff, doing the short stuff on YouTube. But that's about it. I'm looking forward to March, going to UFC 285 and then UFC San Antonio. Going to be a busy March there, so a lot to look forward to this year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hopefully I'll link up with you in San Antonio because I think I might go to San Antonio.
You should, man. It's gonna be a good card.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I'll hit you up on the side about that.
Bet.
Well, thanks again for coming on. And guys, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps out the channel a lot. We're at 130 subscribers, so slowly getting there. But as always, until next week, see you.